Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wonderful viewers, you're welcome to another enthralling edition of Ramadan Mubarak. This is episode or series of programs that we have here in the MTA Ghana studios, MTA Africa, sorry for that matter. And this is where we discuss issues relating to Ramadan. That is where we get to know the do's and don'ts of Ramadan, the benefits of this blessed month of Ramadan. Of course, you know we cannot do this alone, so we have in the studio two respected missionaries of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community here in Ghana. They are in the presence of Maulvi Farazi Yasin Rabbani Sahib. Maulvi Sahib, you are welcome. Assalamu alaikum. And then we have Maulvi Bashiruddin Mahmoud Ahmed Sahib. Maulvi Sahib, you are also welcome to Ramadan Mubarak. Dear viewers, so these are your guests for today's discussion. And so, before we start with our conversation or discussion today, we go for Tilawat Quran Kareem. Please join us.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أتى أمر الله فلا تستعجلوه سبحانه وتعالى عما يشركون ينزل الملائكة بالروح من أمره على من يشاء من عباده أن أنذروا أنه لا إله إلا أنا فاتقون خلق السماوات والأرض بالحق تعالى عما يشركون.
MashaAllah, Subhanallah, Subhanallah, what a recitation. Dear viewers, you can join us on today's program by sending in your messages to the numbers that will be displayed on your screen. And then before we come back again to the studio for the main discussion, we go to listen to the saying of our Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Please join us.
صلي على نبينا.
عن سهل بن سعد رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن في الجنة بابا يقال له الريان يدخل منه الصائمون يوم القيامة لا يدخل معهم أحد غيرهم يقال أين الصائمون فيدخلون منه فإذا دخل آخرهم أغلق فلم يدخل منه أحد.
Hazrat Sahal ibn Sa'd, may Allah be pleased with him, reports that the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, "There is a gate in paradise known as At-Rayyan, through which only fasting persons will enter on the day of judgment, and no one else. It will be said, 'Where are the fasting persons?' They will come forward. No one will enter except them. After they shall have entered, the gates will be closed, and no one else will enter thereafter."
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You're welcome back to the studio. We will start with today's discussion. In fact, the topic for this episode is misconceptions on Ramadan. You might realize that we've discussed most of the issues regarding Ramadan, but there are some questions that needs to be tackled. And for that matter, we will be answering all those questions and all those misconceptions regarding Ramadan. So I will start with Movi Faraz Yasin Rabbani Saab. Movi Saab, in our previous discussions, we've talked about the age that one can start fasting. You know, it is a question that is frequently asked, and then most children are also forced to fast, in which some might think that it is some sort of cruelty on the side of parents forcing their children to fast. So we want to know from the Islamic point of view, at what age is one expected to fast?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We just had a hadith of the Holy Prophet ﷺ in which it is mentioned of the high excellences that a person can receive through fasting. And aside this hadith, there are so many other narrations of the Holy Prophet ﷺ that tell us about how blessed Ramadan is and how much Allah loves those who fast. So sometimes some of the parents, thinking they are doing good to their children, also make them fast. And sometimes at the age of 5, 6, 7, they start telling their children to fast. But Islam, we know, is a religion that is very systematic. And fasting is another form of worship. Now, when we talk about salat, we see that even salat, which is relatively easier than this, is not obligatory upon the children.
Okay.
And fasting is the next level of worship. So when even salat is not compulsory to the age of 10 and above, then to think that fasting is prescribed also for the children is very wrong.
Okay.
And Hazrat Muslim Maud even says that in my opinion it is a crime to make a child under the age of 12 fast. So we cannot please Allah the Almighty through our own will.
Okay.
If Allah the Almighty has exempted a group of people from fasting, we are those who should follow His obedience.
That's right.
And that is where the reward would lie.
Yes.
Now, we find so many examples, sometimes even children, they wish to fast.
Yeah.
So the daughter of Hazrat Masih Maud Islam, Sayyida Nawab Mubarak Begum Sahib, has mentioned that sometimes we would wake up for the suhoor and intend to fast. And it would get to a time in the afternoon when Hazrat Masih Maud Islam would realize, or he would be told that we are fasting, and he would tell us to break the fast.
Sure.
He would not let children fast, and the reason is that is an age where they are still growing.
Yeah.
If you hamper their growth at that age by forcing them to fast, you are making them disabled for the whole life when fasting would have been prescribed for them.
Yeah.
So these minute details should be looked. That a child, as Huzur mentioned, that 13, 14, you should not force him to fast.
Yeah.
So he sets the bar at 18. Okay. But even then he said, sometimes kids come to me and they are above 18, but their health looks like a child who is 14, 15.
Yeah.
So even if you cross 18, but your health does not permit, you are not supposed to fast.
Yeah.
But 18 can be the mark, and once you reach 18, then fasting becomes prescribed on the condition that you have become a fully matured adult.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah, Jazakumullah Maulvi Sahab. So dear viewers, there was the answer for you. And so you, as I said earlier on, you can join us on the program by sending in your messages to the numbers that will be displaying on your screens. So we move on to the next question regarding fasting as well. Maulvi Bashiruddin Sahab, the concept of fasting and then journeying. Now there are a lot of questions that are raised on this, the concept of fasting and then whilst on journey, and then the Quran stopping you and a whole lot. Can you enlighten us more on this concept?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Jazakumullah for this question. We all know that nowadays people are of this view that if you can travel and by the end of the day you feel that you are comfortable enough to fast, why do we still have to fast? Why do we have to fast and then not having that free will to be fasting on our own accord? Now, this with regards to the Holy Quran, Allah Almighty has given us a very beautiful teaching that this month is prescribed for you for your own righteousness. So Allah Almighty tells us that Ayyam al-Ma'du, that this fasting period, this month of Ramadan is fixed We are having a fixed number of days for the fast. فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ. Whoever amongst you in this period, this prescribed period, this month of Ramadan, is sick or is traveling, Allah Almighty says that you have to exempt yourself. And then when the fast is over, when the month of Ramadan is over, you can fast those periods which you have missed.
Okay.
So that it will be a sort of, you are making up for what you missed during the month of Ramadan. So Allah Almighty in the Holy Quran has given us a clear-cut injunction that once you are traveling, you shouldn't be fasting. Now that comes, then there comes in this question of how do you determine?
Yes.
Allah Almighty has told us through the Holy Prophet ﷺ that in Islam everything is based on the intention. Innamal a'malu binniyat. Now, as you stood up from your bed, you know that today I'll be traveling. No one needs to come and tell you that because you are traveling, you shouldn't fast. Allah Almighty says that once you are traveling, don't fast. So if you know that, yes, I am traveling, then you shouldn't fast. We all know what we do, the preparations we make, that tells us we are fasting, or the situation we go through, that tells us we are traveling. So if you know that today I'll be going this side, this place, I will be traveling. It is something that you know in yourself. No one should come and tell you about this. Now, the second Khalifa, Hazrat Mirza Bashir Mahmud Ahmad anhu, also mentioned that for his view, he feels that if you are to take the pre-dawn meal in your home, and then you are to go somewhere and you know that you would return to your house before breaking it, before having the iftar, then it means you shouldn't consider that as a journey. Because you are in the comfort of your home, you are taking the suhoor and the sahri, and then in the evening you are back before you take in that meal. Then it means that obviously you can consider that not to be traveling. Now, as this is a matter of Islamic jurisprudence, in the fiqh issue, we have so many scholars having their own share of it. Now, once you pack your bag, you pack your things, you know that you are going somewhere. This clearly tells everyone that, yes, this is a period of travel. It means the person is automatically going to travel. So no one needs to tell you that this is a journey. You have to know yourself that this is a journey.
So it all comes back to the person, his intention and everything.
Yes, it all comes back to the intention. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ tells us that as-safaru qit'atun min al-azab. There is a small kind of punishment, not punishment per se, but suffering, yes, a trouble that you go through when you are traveling. You wouldn't have that much comfort. So once you know that this journey you are to embark on, from this place to that place, this hour and everything you yourself, you should determine it by yourself. The Quran hasn't given a limit to the hours or the kilometers for the journey. You have to decide for yourself that if this is traveling, if this is travel, if this is a journey, then you shouldn't be fasting on that day. Promised Messiah alayhi salam, just adding up, Promised Messiah alayhi salam says that Allah Almighty has given us so many enjoyment in the religion, so many ease. So we have to take advantage of these ease that Allah Almighty has given us. So if Allah says if you are traveling, if you're on a journey, don't fast, then don't fast. Wait when the month is over, you just replace it as Allah Almighty has told you, and for that you would get the reward of Allah the Almighty.
That also reminds me of the point that Faraz Sahab made, that you cannot force Allah the Almighty to love you or to be pleased with you. So he says you shouldn't fast whilst you're on a journey or you are sick. Then obeying the commandment of Allah the Almighty is actually a source of blessing. So wonderful viewers, we will go for an extract from the sayings of our beloved Khalifa, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad Ayyadahullah Ta'ala bin Nasir Aziz.
आपने फरमाया कि भारी मरहला जो हमने तय करना है वो खुदा शनासी है, उसको पहचानना है। और अगर हमारी खुदा शनासी ही नाकस और मुश्तबे और धुंधली है तो हमारा ईमान हरगिज़ मुनव्वर और चमकीला नहीं हो सकता। और खुदा शनासी किस तरह होगी? ये अल्लाह ताला की सिफ़त रहीमियत के जलवे से होगी। खुदा की पहचान अल्लाह ताला के जो सिफ़त रहीमियत की उसके ज़ाहिर होने से होती है। ऐसा ताल्लुक़ खुदा ताला से पैदा करने से होगी जिसमें खुदा ताला की रहीमियत और फ़ज़ल और कुदरत की सिफ़ात हमारे तजुर्बे में आएंगी। और ये बातें उस वक्त तजुर्बे में आ सकती हैं जब खुदा की इबादत और उससे ताल्लुक़ का गैर मामूली इजहार हो रहा हो। आपने फरमाया कि अल्लाह ताला की रहमियत और फ़ज़ल और कुदरत की सिफ़ात जब तजुर्बे में आती हैं तो फिर वो नफ़सानी जज्बात से छुड़ाती हैं। और नफ़सानी जज्बात कमज़ोरी ईमान और कमज़ोरी यकीन की वजह से पैदा होते हैं। अगर ईमान कमज़ोर ना हो, अल्लाह ताला पर यकीन कामिल हो, तो नफ़सानी जज्बात पैदा नहीं होते। आपने फरमाया कि इस दुनिया की आसाइशें, इसकी अमलाक, इसकी दौलतें जिस कदर इंसान को प्यारी होती हैं, उतनी उखरवी ज़िंदगी की नेमतें उसे प्यारी नहीं। कहने को तो इंसान कहता है कि मुझे आखिरी ज़िंदगी की नेमतें प्यारी हैं, क्योंकि अगर उखरवी ज़िंदगी की नेमतें भी इतनी प्यारी होती तो फिर उनको हासिल करने के लिए भी उतनी ही कोशिश होती जितनी इन दुनियावी चीज़ों के हासिल करने के लिए होती, बल्कि इससे बढ़कर होती। बस वाज़े हुआ कि अल्लाह ताला की कुदरत और रहीमियत और वादों पर हकीकी ईमान नहीं है, और इस बात का जायज़ा लेने की ज़रूरत है।
MashaAllah, MashaAllah, such a wisdom from our beloved Khalifa. That is, he has informed us to try as much as possible to develop our belief in Allah the Almighty. And if we do so, we can get rid of all our selfish or our pleasures, so that we can solely become His. And then we should understand that the mercy of Allah the Almighty is very vast, and then we should seek for His pleasure and then His mercy. That was the iktibas from our beloved Huzur. We come back to the studio and then we go on to our guest. Mawi Faradia, since in our previous discussions we've mentioned the benefits of Ramadan, but it is also important to always be hammering on this point for the benefits of those who are viewing this program for the first time. So we want to ask, how can this Ramadan reform us?
This is a very important question, and it needs that everyone should introspect and see what he has gained from Ramadan or the fasting. And when we read the verse of the prescription of fasting in the Holy Quran, it is لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. You might be reformed, you might gain the taqwa, the righteousness and the nearness of Allah the Almighty. And this practice of fasting is not new. It's not something that Islam has brought for reformation.
Okay.
Rather, when we see all religions, we realize that whenever somebody wanted to seek the nearness of Allah the Almighty, numerous examples in the scriptures, the Old Testament, New Testament, even the Buddhist scriptures, they do mention that there were people who would stop or abstain from physical food to attain spiritual food. And abstaining from physical food does not just mean abstaining from water or food. For example, if the human body, the body and the soul are very connected with one another. Now, if the body falls sick, what do? The doctor prescribes some medications, he gives you some exercises, and aside that, he prepares a special chart of meals that you should take and what you should not take. And in the chart he prepares, some of the meals are not wrong, they are very good for the health, but because of that condition, you are told to even abstain from that. So in the same way, when you talk about your spirituality, your morality, this 29 days, they are just like that training camp, or that medication, those exercises that you are supposed to go through. So you are told that we should wake up before the Fajr prayer and take your food for the day, and you are done. And the Muslims do so. This is to tell us that if you can wake up to eat at that time, why can't you wake up for tahajjud in the other days? So it is a figurative way of speaking that if you can wake up for food at that time, because you know you'll not be eating afterwards. In the same way, in the other months, when your health is good, why don't you take that as a chance and pray? And you don't know when your health would not permit you to pray. So these are the examples. Then it says that during the fast, you should not abuse anyone. But the purpose of the fasting cannot be accomplished if after the fast you say that, okay, now I have broken the fast, it's Maghrib time, so I would go and take my revenge. You have nullified the benefit of the fasting and the reformation that Allah the Almighty wants us to go through. You are putting that aside. And it is even a kind of mockery that I have gone through that training, but I do not want to put it into practicality. So all the things that we are required to do during this month, during the time we are fasting, which include not quarreling, not fighting, reading more of the Holy Quran, all these should be continued after the month of Ramadan, so that that period of information can be seen in our practical life. When the Holy Prophet ﷺ was talking about this month, he said that, Ya ayyuhan nas, O people, innahu qad aqbala ilaykum shahrullah. The month of Allah the Almighty has dawned upon you people. And it comes with what? Bil barakah, wal rahmah, wal maghfirah. It has come with a lot of blessings and ar-rahmah, and it has come with the mercy of Allah the Almighty, wal maghfirah, and with His forgiveness. So it is time that we turn into a new leaf, because Allah the Almighty has given us the glad tidings that the month is there. The Holy Prophet has told us that it has come with so many blessings. So if we want to reform ourselves, this is the best time. This is that practical field. This is the training field after which we can step into the practical field.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. So this is a training field for us to step into the practical field, as Maulvi Farad Saab mentioned. So we can reform ourselves just by listening to what Maulvi Saab mentioned. And then this is the saying of our beloved Holy Master, Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The month of Allah indeed is here, and it is time for us to reform ourselves. Dear viewers, we've been receiving messages from you, so I would like to take time to read some of your messages. There is one here that states, Assalamu alaikum. From us, Ramadan Mubarak. We are enjoying the program live from Germany. May Allah bless you all. Wassalam. And this is coming from Mufliha and Tahsina Nasser Sahiba. And then we have one that is saying, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We are watching live from Germany. May Allah bless the entire team. We have learned a lot and from us all. Well, Ramadan Mubarak. Wassalam. This is coming from Hadika, Hiba, and Tawkir. They are all from Germany. Jazakumullah for sending in your messages. We have a phone call. We have a doctor on the line, and then he's in the person of Dr. Walid Ahmed. Dr. Saab, assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak.
Wa alaikum assalam, khair Mubarak.
Dr. Saab, the question for you today is, when fasting, is it advisable to exercise? If yes, to what extent?
Yes, so a simple answer to this question is yes, exercise is advisable while fasting. And in fact, research has shown that exercise while fasting is more beneficial. That is because we tend to use more of our fat, we tend to burn more of our fat. So it actually depends on the reason, behind why one want to exercise. So there are different reasons. One of them is to lose weight, the other one is to do strengthening exercise, that is bodybuilding, weightlifting. Another reason might be just to stay fit. So there are a couple of reasons. So if you are looking into weight loss, if you're thinking about weight loss during Ramadan and especially while fasting, then actually research has shown that exercise while fasting is definitely much more beneficial for weight loss, because it is at that time we tend to burn more of our fat instead of using our glucose, which is already low and is kept for reserve. We tend to use our fat, we tend to burn it off, and that way we lose a lot of weight. So exercise while fasting is beneficial. However, there are things we might need to consider. So one thing that we might need to think of is that because we are fasting, we can't drink, and exercise makes you go thirsty. So one way to get around is that we do exercise close to the iftar time. So we can do exercise about an hour or 30 minutes before iftar time, very close to the iftar time. So if we do get thirsty, dehydrated, we can quickly drink water at iftar. Another way to get around is by doing what we call low impact aerobic exercises, such as swimming, walking, or even slow cycling. So these are low impact aerobic exercises. While they still help you burn fat, they prevent dehydration. And whereas high impact aerobic exercises are running and jumping, squatting, so in these kind of exercises, it's a lot easier to get dehydrated. So it's much advisable, and I would recommend to do low intensity, that is low impact aerobic exercises while we are fasting. Because definitely we do.
Dr. Jazakumullah for that wonderful answer. So, dear viewers, you heard it all. It is good to exercise, but Doctor specially mentioned that it is advisable to fast, to exercise while the fast is coming to an end, so that when you get dehydrated or something of that sort, you can easily go for water to break your fast when it's time for you to break the fast. We come back to the studio. I go to Maulvi Bashiruddin Mahmood Ahmed Saib. Maulvi Saab, Ramadan is attributed with people missing fasts, and a whole lot, and we are told to pay fidya. So the question, what is fidya? Can you throw more light on the concept of fidya for us?
Now, as we've been saying, and you rightly mentioned that we can't force Allah Almighty to bless us. So Allah Almighty has given limitations to those who can fast. And as mentioned in the previous the verse I mentioned earlier on, Allah Almighty says that one who is sick and then the one who is on a journey, for you, the fast is not obligatory on you. Now, because Allah Almighty wants to bless us in this month of Ramadan, Allah Almighty wants to make us pure. Because tatakun, to become pious or to have that purity or to have that righteousness, that is why the month of Ramadan is prescribed for us. Now, if one is being exempted from fasting, how is he also going to gain this pleasure of Allah Almighty, this blessing of Allah Almighty, to become righteous in this blessed month of of Ramadan? Allah Almighty says that for those people who are exempted, Allah Almighty says in the Holy Quran, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. That is, for those people who can fast but with difficulty, for you is an expiation. So fidya is an expiation, that is like something of a ransom. Because you are not able to do something, you use something in instead to cater for what you were supposed to do. Now, in Islam, that is what Allah Almighty and then the Holy Prophet ﷺ has taught us, that if you cannot fast, then you have to pay this fidya. Now, Allah Almighty says that those people who have the capacity, it's not that because someone is not fasting, so compulsorily he should go and then find something to pay this fidya we are talking about. No. Allah Almighty says that if you are having the capacity, and also those people who are exempted from fasting, those who are not having that strength, that enough strength to fast, they are all included in those people who have been exempted from fasting. So aside the sick and then those traveling, the breastfeeding women, those women who are pregnant, small children, as Mofarasa rightly mentioned, of the ages, the old men, the old women, such people are very weak, and then they have a role to play. They have a duty, and at that moment in time, they are not allowed to fast. So for them to be able to gain that pleasure of Allah Almighty, for them to also gain that righteousness, this fidya is being placed for us to get or to gain that pleasure of Allah the Almighty. Now we all know in the hadith, the Holy Prophet ﷺ has told us that Allah Almighty is not in need of that thirst of yours or your hunger. Allah Almighty is not in need of it. What Allah Almighty needs is that righteousness. So it's not that you are not fasting, so it means you wouldn't be able to attain that righteousness. You would be able to attain it through paying this fidya. Now, this fidya has been explained to us that Allah Almighty says that we have to feed the poor. Now, you look at the capacity, your strength. How much do you spend in observing your fast, or what do you use to observe your fast? If you were to fast, now you are not fasting. So those things you calculate, and then you give it to a poor man, or you feed a poor man out of those things that you were going to use to begin your fast. So this thing that you are calculating, this calculation being done of either being the food or the amount of money, this is the fidya, the process of giving to someone to feed on, is the process of that fidya Allah Almighty has given us, and then this is a means for us to also attain that righteousness. Now, this fidya being mentioned in the month of Ramadan, we all know that once you are not able to fast, like the breastfeeding mothers and then the pregnant women, Allah Almighty has given, there is this notion of people that you give it to someone to fast for you. The concept of fidya is not you giving someone money or something to fast for you. Allah Almighty says that ta'amu miskin, you are feeding a poor person. So you just calculate and then you give it to someone, a poor person, for the person to also have something to eat. Now the Jamaat has made a very beautiful structure in the sense that for me not to just go and then I would say I would determine this is a poor man and I would give it to such a person. The Jamaat has established this system in which you calculate what you have, and then we have the authorities. You give, if it's an amount of money, you give them. If it is food stuff, you give them. They know in the Jamaat or in the community which people are poor and needy. They give those things to those people. You gain your blessing, and those needy people also get something to feed on. And with this, you absolutely complete this structure of fidya.
But Mobi Sahab, there's one thing that I wanted for us to come in here. Mobi Sahab, with regards to the fidya, is it that the fidya is to replace the fast that we've missed, or it is just for us to gain the blessings of Allah Almighty? If you can shed light on that aspect for us.
Yes, Hazrat Masih Maud Islam once mentioned that I was pondering about the fact as to why Allah the Almighty has placed the system of fidya, that if I'm not able to fast, I should pay a fidya. So he was contemplating, and Allah the Almighty told him, or it was revealed to him, or he was told in a form of contemplation, that this fidya is actually because Allah the Almighty should enable you fast. So when you are not fasting, maybe a person is ill, he is not able to fast, then he pays that fidya, that, oh Allah the Almighty, enable me fast the next year. This shows that you have that passion in you, that, oh Allah the Almighty, I do not want to be left out from this blessing. So you give that fidya to a person, to a poor person, and not necessarily a Muslim. All of us, in the sight of Allah the Almighty, are one beings. We are all having the same kind, except what differentiates us is righteousness in the sight of Allah the Almighty. So this is the first thing. But the second thing is that a person who has missed a fast due to a journey, for him he still got to fast. It's not that he's paid the fidya, so that's the end. No. If he pays a fidya, it would be just for the sake of blessings. But for him, it is necessary that he would have to fast again. But for those people who are not able to fast
at all,
yes, maybe an illness which would stretch over the 30 days, and he knows that he would not be able to pay it before the next Ramadan, for them that fidya is important. But missing a day because of a journey, if you pay that fidya, it is just an extra blessing, which is very good.
Okay, Mobi Sahab, so with mashallah, Jazakumullah for that answer, but there's one thing, we've also entered the third month, or the third, last Ashra, yes, the last 10 days of the month of Ramadan. Can you shed more light on this particular month that we have?
So the Ashra, when we talk about Ashra, it means that there are 10 days that make up that Ashra. So the Ramadan is divided into 3 different 10 days, or sometimes the last might be 9 days, but it is in the terminology called Ashara. So the Holy Prophet ﷺ told his companions and also told us that the first Ashara, the first 10 days, are that in which the mercy of Allah the Almighty is vast open. So it is on you to take as much as you want from it. And the second Ashara he mentioned is forgiveness. It is time for Allah the Almighty to forgive. So it is on man to call upon Allah the Almighty that, oh Allah, I have turned to you, so please forgive me. And then the third Ashara, which is the last 10 days or 9 days, these are the ones the Holy Prophet said, وَلِلَّهِ وَتَقَاءُ مِنَ النَّارِ, that it is on Allah the Almighty to emancipate people from hell. وَذَلِكَ كُلَّ لَيْلَةٍ, it is every night of these 9-10 days. So it is a very systematic way that these Asharas have been given to us by Allah the Almighty. The first 10 days are that in which the mercy of Allah encompasses everything. So you seek that mercy of Allah the Almighty, which prompts you to realize that you are a sinful person. And then comes the second Ashara, which is the one you seek the forgiveness of Allah the Almighty. And once you've sought the forgiveness, the third Ashara is in which Allah the Almighty takes a person out from the hellfire.
So that's the days of salvation for Muslims all over the world. Wonderful viewers, we've had a wonderful discussion. But as Dr. Saab advised, exercising this month is very, very beneficial. So we'll just take you through the fitness segment we have on this program today. So please join us.
Subhanaka, Subhanaka, Allahumma, Subhanaka.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. This is Coach Hamza again, and welcome you to the third episode for our Ramadan Sports and Fitness series. And I'm sure you've enjoyed the first and second series, and we are just at the final tail of it. And like I said, we'll be taking you through some few workouts, but it's an upgradement of what we've done in the first, second, and of course, this is the third one. And I'm quite sure you have already enjoyed it, and we just have to keep repeating what we have done so far, just some few slight changes, and I'm quite sure you are going to have fun. So let's come with me, let's get started. And this time, we are changing the exercise a little bit. We are taking it stage by stage, and this is a build-up on what we have started from. So you can see, all right, that's great. This not only targets your upper shoulders, but also helps in burning some belly fat. Good. You can see the widening of your legs. Take the breath slowly as you do this. Okay, here we go. This is an excellent exercise that can easily mark out the packs that you're looking for. And this is an upgradement from what we did previously in our last episode. Okay, we are taking the squatting too again. All right, this time around, we are doing double squats. Okay. This can easily be practiced at home, and I encourage everyone to get on board. Do it with your family. Keeping fit is necessary, especially with the life choices that we have today. Hi, Assalamu alaikum. Coach Hamza here again, and I'm sure you had a good time with us. This is the final leg of the third episode, and like I said, repeat what we've just done at home. Make it quite light, don't make it intense because of the fasting of Ramadan. And of course, we'll be taking you through a few workout sessions in our next session. So come with me and let's have a good time. Assalamu alaikum.
So that was the fitness segment, and then I hope we all try to imitate or to do it at home so that we can get the necessary fitness that we all want for ourselves, or the necessary health that we all need for our well-being. So we come back here to the studios, but before we go to our guest, I want to read a few messages that we've received from you, our wonderful viewers. There's a message here that says, Assalamu alaikum. I am much excited watching this program at home. In fact, such programs in Ramadan helps us to understand the inside meaning of fasting. With that, it gives us much guidance in the holy month of Ramadan. May Allah forgive us and grant us the blessings in this holy month of Ramadan. Ameen. Muzaffar Ahmed Adams from Accra says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm watching you live from Aboso Kain with my family. We are very grateful to Allah and the MTA management. Ahmadiyya Zindabad. I'm Ibrahim Akwa Jr. The next one says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Abdul Basit Ali, Missionary Jamaat, Kenya. Together with my family, we are benefit a lot from the program. May Allah bless you all. May Allah accept our fasting and grant us all the blessings of this holy month, Ramadan Mubarak. So I come to my guest here in the studio. We go to Movi Bashir Din Mahmoud Ahmed. Movi Sab, we are entering into the last 10 days of Ramadan, which we all know is a blessed, these are blessed days. That is, it comes with the Laylatul Qadr. So, Movi Sab, what is Laylatul Qadr?
Jazakumullah ahsanul jaza. Laylatul Qadr is simply, in simple terms, would just mean the night of destiny. Now, we all know that, as my brother just mentioned, in this month of Ramadan, in the last 10 days, the Holy Prophet Muhammad has told us to look for that special night of decree. And Allah Almighty has also mentioned this in the Holy Quran. Inna anzalnahu fi laylatul qadr, laylatul qadri khayrun min alfi shahr. So in this few verses of the Holy Quran, Allah Almighty has told us that laylatul qadr khayrun min alfi shahr. That is, the night of destiny is better than 1,000 nights. Now, because of this statement, 1,000 months, sorry, because of this statement, people are of the view that why don't we wait till the month of Ramadan during the last 10 days and then we search for one night and then straight to heaven. Now, these are some kind of shortcuts that people want to have in order to attain the pleasure of Allah the Almighty. Now, if we are to observe our daily activities, we are to live our life, our daily life, doing all sort of things that are not in this pleasure of Allah the Almighty, and we wait for one particular night just to gain the pleasure of Allah Almighty, just to go to heaven, that wouldn't it wouldn't be that much okay, even in the sight of we, the human beings, how much more Allah the Almighty. Though I cannot speak for Allah the Almighty. But this is something which Allah Almighty has given us. This is a night which Allah Almighty has given us, so blessed that if we are able to meet this night, we are able to meet this period of time in our lives, it means that our lives are going to be better, even more than 1,000 months, or within a period, just like a period of 1,000 months. So if we Muslims, in this blessed month of Ramadan, we are to take our time, we are to observe the special blessing of Allah the Almighty. These last 10 days are for us to be saved from the hellfire. Now, if we are to be saved from the hellfire, why do we only expect one night out of the nights which Allah Almighty has given us in this blessed month? Now, the Holy Prophet Muhammad telling us on which day this Laylatul Qadr falls on. It comes in the hadith that the Holy Prophet whilst coming on the way, met some Muslims having some quarrel. So as he goes to stop that quarrel, in the hadith it is mentioned that he forgot of the exact day or date that Allah Almighty gave him for the night of Laylatul Qadr. Now, if we get to read more about the hadith, it tells us of the fact that this month of Ramadan is a month in which we have to be that much pious. We have to stay away from those things that Allah Almighty even has given us the opportunity to have for ourselves in other days. Now Allah Almighty is telling you to stay away from those things so as to become righteous. Even if someone is to come to you trying to indulge you in certain bad habits, you have to tell the person that you are fasting. So the Holy Prophet ﷺ, seeing the Muslims somehow engaged in a quarrel and then forgetting this night, is telling us that in this month of Ramadan, if we are not focused enough on the worship of Allah the Almighty and we engage ourselves in other things like quarreling and then those things that Allah Almighty has stopped us from, then automatically we are also not going to meet this night of destiny. But if we are to focus on the worship of Allah the Almighty, we wake up at night worshiping Allah the Almighty, we seek the pleasure of Allah Almighty during the day, then yes, we are also obviously going to seek this day. The Holy Prophet ﷺ tells us to seek this day in the odd days, in the last 10 days of Ramadan. That is the 21st, the 23rd, 25th, as we all know what the odd days are. So this Laylatul Qadr is such a night of the mercy of Allah the Almighty, and Prophet Muhammad has referred to it as a period that if someone is to truly attain this period in his life, and Prophet Muhammad has even beautifully attached it to the coming of the Prophet himself. That is, the Prophet Muhammad says that if someone is able to recognize the Prophet or the Messiah of the age and is to accept him and to remain obedient to him and to follow whatever he teaches, leading to the worship of Allah the Almighty, it's like you found that Laylatul Qadr, that night of decree, in which your daily life becomes far better than even a 60-year-old man who has lived his life without recognizing the true Imam of the age. So this tells us that it's not just a night. So during the last 10 days of Ramadan, you will see people going to, they will leave their homes like 1 a.m. just to start their tahajjud in congregation because they want to have that night of decree. You can't, we shouldn't be using one day or just one night to be seeking the pleasure of Allah the Almighty.
Demands efforts from us, extra effort from us. Movies have just some few words on that.
You see, Allah the Almighty talking about the Laylatul Qadr said it is better than 1,000 nights, 1,000 months. So when this time is calculated, 1,000 months, it's over 80 years. And that is the lifespan of a human being. Averagely 80 years or close to 80. So Allah the Almighty says that one night is better than a lifetime that a person spends in this world. So this is to tell us that that one night in which you turn to Allah the Almighty with full repentance and sincerity and made that decree that from this day onwards I would not do anything that would attract the wrath of Allah the Almighty, and I would put every effort to gain the nearness of Allah the Almighty. That indeed is that night of decree, wherein you decree that from this day on I would not make any such action from my side which would gain the wrath of Allah the Almighty. One other thing that the Khulafa have mentioned is that when you read about that incident that the two Muslims were fighting and that made the Holy Prophet ﷺ to forget that night of decree, it is to tell us that this night of decree is a gift of Allah the Almighty, and due to a quarrel of two Muslims, that gift was lost. So it is to tell us that when Muslims, we fight among ourselves, we argue, we fall into insults, and we fall into what Allah the Almighty is not expecting of us, that results the favor of Allah the Almighty in lifting from us. Just as the Laylatul Qadr's night was lifted from us.
MashaAllah. Jazakumullah, Maulvi Saab. I have a question for you, but actually, dear viewers, we would want to move on to another segment on the program. And then that segment is the diet segment. So please join us as we go for the diet segment.
मिलके मिलती नहीं ताकत के करे शुक्रिया इंसान बंदों पे खुदा रहता है हर दम ही मेहरबान मिलती नहीं ताकत के करे शुक्रिया इंसान बंदों पे खुदा रहता है हर दम ही मेहरबान आया महीना वो के जिसका नाम है रमजान आया महीना वो के जिसका नाम है रमजान कुरान भी शाहिद बना बर अज़मत रमजान कुरान भी शाहिद बना बर अज़मत रमजान मिलती नहीं ताकत के करे शुक्रिया इंसान बंदों पे खुदा रहता है हर दम ही मेहरबान बंदों पे खुदा रहता है हर दम ही मेहरबान अल्लाह ने बतलाए जो इस्लाम के अरकान उन 5 में से एक है ये रोज़ा रमज़ान अल्लाह ने बतलाए जो इस्लाम के अरकान उन 5 में से एक है ये रोज़ा रमज़ान अल्लाह का तक़वा है अल्लाह का तक़वा है सुनो हासिल रमज़ान इंसान पे इस राज को है खोलता कुरान अल्लाह का तक़वा है सुनो हासिल रमज़ान इंसान पे इस राज को है खोलता कुरान रमज़ान की आमद हुई जिंदान में शैतान खुल जाता है इंसान पे नेकी का हर मैदान रमज़ान की आमद हुई जिंदान में शैतान खुल जाता है इंसान पे नेकी का हर मैदान
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. As we are getting close to the iftar, so that was the dice segment you can try at home for the people at home to benefit from. So that was the dice segment. We have messages coming from you, our wonderful viewers. We have a message. The message is Amrabi Mamadou Sani, missionary of Cape Verde Island Jamaat. We are watching the program with you. I'm watching the program. It's a wonderful program. May Allah bless you all. One says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I'm Sarah Opoku from Kaswa, Ghana, enjoying this educative program live at home. May Allah bless you all. Ramadan Mubarak. So these were your views, your messages that was read. Jazakumullah for sending in your messages. We come to our guest in the studio. So I want to start with Movi Faraz Yasin Saib. Movi Saab, we are entering into the last 10 days of Ramadan, the concept of itikaf. We've talked about fidya. We also want to discuss what itikaf is, especially in the last 10 days of Ramadan, if you can throw more light on that for us.
So in the verses of fasting and Ramadan in the Holy Quran, Allah the Almighty talks about itikaf, وَأَنْتُمْ عَاكِفُونَ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ, and when you are doing itikaf in the mosques. So, and when we read the narration of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, his wife, as Aisha mentions, كَانَ يَعْتَكِفُ الْعَشْرَ الْأَوَاخِرِ مِنْ Ramadan, that he used to spend the last 10 days as itikaf in the mosque till he passed away. This is in Sahih Bukhari, this hadith. So, this concept of itikaf is a sunnah of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. But what we should know is that this itikaf can be done in the mosque, as Allah the Almighty mentioned that fil masajid, and you are in the mosque. Okay. And also the saying of the wife of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. But for the women, there is this exception that they can assign a portion of their home wherein they will not be disturbed, and they can perform the itikaf there. When we talk about itikaf, itikaf is the next level of of struggle in the month of Ramadan. For example, you've given in the normal days, you're told that you will not eat, you should not quarrel, you should not engage in vain talks. But as the month of Ramadan is coming to an end, just like a harvest season, if you know that it's only 10 days for this harvest season to end, you try as much as possible to gain as much as you can from those 10 days remaining. So these 10 days of i'tikaf are just the next level, next effort that you would put everything of this world aside. And the Holy Quran says that in the normal days of Ramadan, the first 20, after the fast, you are allowed to go onto your wives, or you can have relations with your wife and your husband. But in these 10 days, even that is stopped.
Okay.
You are not allowed to have relations with your wife, and you are not allowed to leave the mosque without any purpose, to the extent that Hazrat Aisha mentioned that even for funerals, people were not allowed to leave the mosques, to leave the mosque where they were doing the i'tikaf. And similarly, to visit a patient, though in narrations we have that it is the right of your Muslim brother that when he falls sick, you visit him. But you are so restrained and solely focused on the worship of Allah the Almighty in these 10 days that you do not visit the outside world.
So that was i'tikaf. Dear viewers, we've received your questions, and so we will try as much as possible to handle them before the program comes to an end. So the question we've received from you, one is, my question is regards to fidya. If someone cannot afford to pay the fidya, what can he or she do? Movi Bashiruddin Mahmoud Saab.
Okay, Jazakumullah sana jaza. The verse rightly mentioned that وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ. So if someone is not having the capacity to pay the fidya, the main aim of Ramadan is for one to attain piousness, for one to attain righteousness. So the fidya is there for you to be able to attain that much righteousness because you are not able to fast. Now, if you are not having that capacity to give out for someone who is in need, it means you yourself, you are a needy person. And for that matter, Allah Almighty, Islam is not a religion of hardship, and the Ramadan or the fast is not there for us to be somehow in that severe difficulty. No, Allah Almighty has given us ease in religion, and especially in this month of Ramadan. So if one is not able to afford the fidya, then yes, you have to be engaging yourself more in the worship of Allah the Almighty, or you have to engage yourself more in doing the good things. There was one companion of Holy Prophet ﷺ who couldn't complete a day fast and went to report himself to Holy Prophet ﷺ. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ told him then he has to fast for a number of days. And he was like, I was not able to even fast for one day. How would I be able to fast continuously for this number of days? So the Holy Prophet ﷺ told him to feed the poor. He said, I don't have anything to feed the poor. So the Holy Prophet ﷺ had a bucket of dates, and then he now had to give that bucket of dates to that person to go and feed the poor. And he was like, he himself, So now the dates that he was to use to feed the others, he used to that day to feed himself. This is telling us that, yes, if someone is not of that capacity to feed others, or you are not of that capacity to give out fidya, then yes, engage more in doing good things, engage more in worshiping Allah the Almighty, and through that, you're also going to get that main benefit, the main aim of the month of Ramadan or fast, and that is righteousness.
MashaAllah. So that was your answer right there. So the fidya, if you cannot afford it, it is not compulsory for you to pay the fidya, but you should actually activate yourself in doing good deeds and then try to purify yourself in this blessed month of Ramadan. So dear viewers, we've received a lot of messages from you. Some were in French, we couldn't read, but inshallah in our next episode, in our next edition, we will try as much as possible to translate it and then come and read to you. Jazakumullah for joining us today for today's special edition of Ramadan Mubarak. May Allah be with you till we meet again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu.